Welcome to this module on quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing evidence. This module has been designed to help you understand how to use these writing techniques effectively to build your capacity as an academic writer, and how to use these techniques correctly so that you don't accidentally present another author's ideas as your own. There are three major sections to this module, one each on quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. To successfully complete the module, you need to work through the three sections and the quizzes at the end of each section. Before looking at the three main sections, let's just briefly consider why you need to use evidence from other sources at all. First, you need to use information from sources to thoroughly understand your topic and develop your views. Then, when you come to write your assignment, you'll need that information to provide support for your argument, to demonstrate that you've done appropriate research, or to show your growing mastery of your field of study. The kind of material that's preferred as evidence should be directly relevant to the arguments you're building and the conclusions you are supporting. Mostly it will come from academic sources, articles in journals or edited volumes, for example, or from textbooks. Other sources include policy documents, websites, live presentations, and unpublished theses. Plagiarism is when the words, ideas, diagrams, or data of another writer are passed off as your own without the original source being cited. If this is done knowingly, the university considers it as dishonest plagiarism and academic misconduct. It doesn't matter where or how the original material is published. If you haven't acknowledged where it came from through referencing, then it's considered plagiarism. See the Academic Honesty Education module, AHEM, on your Blackboard page for a very detailed explanation on different forms of plagiarism. Referencing conventions are a shorthand or abbreviated way of letting your reader know where you found the information. There are many styles for providing citations or referencing, as it's commonly known. Different faculties use different styles, so you should take care to find out what is required for each of your units of study. You can also look at the library website in the study section for comprehensive referencing guides. We're going to look at two ways of transferring source information, quoting and reporting. With quoting, you use the exact words of the source. When reporting a source, you use mostly your own words. We'll talk about this in the sections on paraphrasing and summarizing. So, when do you quote rather than report? If the words of the source explain the point very concisely, and it is a key point, then you may prefer to quote. Sometimes, if the information has been expressed in an imaginative or original way, and you want to share this with your reader, then you may wish to quote. Quoting may be necessary when you have to engage very closely with the text. It might be a line of poetry or a definition from a renowned expert or something you want to critique. In these cases, it might be better to quote so that your reader knows precisely what you're dealing with. Finally, most assignments can get very good grades without any quotations at all, so use them sparingly. Of course, the first rule for quoting is to make sure that you use the exact words of the source. There are a couple of variations to this idea, as we'll see in a moment. Second, a quotation should never stand alone. It should be used to support a point you've made in your own words. Third, if you build your quotation into one of your own sentences, it must fit grammatically. Finally, you have to follow the referencing conventions required by your unit of study. These include 1. Using quotation marks for short quotations, those shorter than 3 lines or 40 words approximately. The exact numbers vary from one system to another. Indenting longer quotations, often called block quotes, which are separated from the main text, and, depending on the style you're using, with font and line spacing reduced. No quotation marks are used. 3. Inserting 3 dots where some words have been left out. You can do this as long as the intended meaning is not altered. Some systems require square brackets around the dots. 4. Putting square brackets around words or letters you've inserted to make the quotation fit your sentence grammatically. Again, the intended meaning can't be altered. 5. Finally, the page number or numbers where the information was found in the source must be included in the citation or reference. Read the examples of quoting on the slide and decide if the writers are using quotes appropriately or not. You can pause the slideshow while you're thinking. Have a look at example 1 first. Example 1 is not an appropriate way to use a quotation, because part of it simply repeats what the writer has already said. That intonation is very important. It would be better to paraphrase the meaning of this quotation. Also, the quotation is not well integrated into the sentence, which seems to be what the writer is trying to do. A comma would be better than a colon, and a capital letter is not required for intonation. Finally, quotation marks are needed around the quotation. Example 2 is a good example of using a quotation appropriately, as the writer is using the exact words to strengthen their own argument. This example contains less usual elements, such as ellipsis, indicated by the 3 dots. The ellipsis points mean that some words, or in longer extracts, sentences, have been omitted. The square brackets around some letters in example 2 show that the writer has made a small change. These brackets can occur around whole words as well, which have been inserted into a quotation. The square brackets around the letters in this example mean that the writer changed an uppercase letter into lowercase so that the quoted extract fits seamlessly into the grammatical structure of the sentence. Because it's usually better to use your own words to develop your own argument, using the direct words of other authors by quoting should not be done often. When you use quotations, they should be memorable and powerful. Finally, these examples are done in APA style. Other systems may have a slightly different way of formatting references. So now you can complete the quiz on quoting.